What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast, and we have finally reached Fantastic Four week. Technically not Fantastic Four week, but a week away from Fantastic Four, so we're going to count it. We're going to absolutely count it, and we are here today to break down everything you need to know about Fantastic Four before heading into Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters. Joining me, as always, my good friend and co-host, Damon Gray. How you doing, Damon?
Fantastic.
Nice. Say that again.
No.
Joining us.
You only see that in the movies, TJ.
I don't know why we continuously reference over and over again a movie that was just absolutely atrocious. In my mind, the worst superhero movie that I have ever seen, but we'll get into all that. Before we do, I want to introduce our guest today, helping us break down the Fantastic Four. We got Jam. Jam is in session. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, as Damon said. Fantastic.
I am excited to chat about the Fantastic Four with you both, and we usually have a segment of What You Watching. I'm going to skip that today because my wonderful niece has a concert that I want to get to later in this evening, and so that felt like a good place to cut some time. But I do actually have a show that I want to talk about the next time we do What You're Watching, because I did just finish a series the other day. But I want to get right into the Fantastic Four, and before we talk about the movie itself, I want to kind of know everyone's introduction into these characters. For me, it was the 90s animated series. I had seen just like some little clips and odd runs, and eventually later on the internet, of some of the older Fantastic Four stuff. But everybody, if they've listened to the podcast, they know I'm a big cartoons guy. I love my animated shows. I love my animated movies. And so my first experience with the Fantastic Four was their 90s animated series, and then later in the 2000s when it was World's Greatest Heroes, something like that, Fantastic Four. I watched that one too. But what I loved about the 90s television animated universe is these people interacted with each other. So where I have seen them the most, because I probably watched this arc about 20-30 times in my life with Spider-Man the animated series, is that's the Secret Wars, the Spider verse arc. And in Secret Wars, we of course do have the Fantastic Four show up to help Spider-Man fight. And so that was my first exposure to Fantastic Four. Damon, how about you?
I think it's the 2005 Fantastic Four movie.
Wow.
Chris Evans with Jessica Alba. I think that's it, honestly. I've never really been that much of a big Fantastic Four person. Gonna be honest. Whether it is comics or movies or whatnot, I think it's one of those Marvel properties that just there's a lot of nostalgia for, and then there's a hard cutoff point for a lot of people. So I'm hoping that with this movie, we kind of like bring it back a bit. So yeah, the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, I think, is like my first proper introduction. I was going to say the first Fantastic Four movie, but let's not forget the 90s one. That's on YouTube if you really want to watch it.
Before the Avengers, before the X-Men, it was Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. That was Marvel Comics. They were they're called Marvel's first family for a reason. They helped carry the load. Jam, what was your first introduction to the Fantastic Four?
Just like you, same like you, man. That animated series from the 90s. I'm a 93 baby, man. So just growing up, and I'm also a cartoons guy. So growing up watching a bunch of those cartoons, seeing that series, seeing the world interact. I remember seeing, I think it was actually, like you said, the Secret Wars arc where they pull up or something like that. And I know Ghost Rider was in one of their episodes too. So like just seeing all of those like things happen in the Fantastic Four cartoon was awesome. But to Damon's point, that was 2005 or whatever movie. That was, even now I still love that. I have it's like a warm place in my heart for that movie. It's just my early 2000 superhero movies, as uncomically accurate as they may be, as campy as some of them are. I still, that's one that I'm just like, even the cast, they have a nice place in my heart. Like,
comparatively, I'd say it's not terrible. compared to some other Fantastic Four projects.
Yeah, like honestly, when you look at the ones that what was it, 2014, absolutely, like that is a good movie in comparison. But let's dive right into that of our favorite fantastic pieces of Fantastic Four content. Before we dive too far, Jam, I will say I think when your mic goes slightly further away from your face, it kind of disappears on us, and it was like going like really quiet. But when it's nice and close, you sounded perfect and crisp. So just one thing I wanted to point out, but.
Okay.
I want to know your favorite Fantastic Four stuff, because I think for me it is that Secret Wars arc for Spider-Man the Animated Series. But as a kid, I loved the Fantastic Four movie. As a kid, I even liked Fantastic Four Rise of Silver Surfer. Looking back, I know the Galactus cloud. Everybody makes fun of the Galactus cloud. It was terrible. But I love the Silver Surfer. Norrin Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters in Marvel Comics. And so I enjoyed that movie. And now going back, looking at it as an adult, I'm realizing, wait, did they bleach Jessica Alba's skin here? Why was she naked in that scene just for the whole team to have to scamper through the crowd anyways? And I'm realizing that like, ooh, a lot of this stuff did not age well whatsoever. But I will say as a kid, like I honestly did really enjoy those movies. Jam, what's your like number one piece of Fantastic Four media or comic?
Oh, number one is tough. I wanna honestly say Hickman's run. Um, it's just so good. And then how all like that new Avengers. Can you guys hear me by the way? Like my audio is good?
Perfect now.
Okay.
Perfect now.
Yeah, between like Hickman's run on like Avengers, New Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and just how all of that bleeds right into Secret. It's just like so that would probably be my favorite, but I honestly think it's kind of close with that classic movie. I'll be honest, like that or not classic, but for me, classic. That was the first Fantastic Four movie I seen. Even though it has, like you said, you watch it now and it's kind of just like, but I still have like a warm feeling for it. So those two are like really close for me. But as the comic reader and then just as the fan.
Couldn't agree more. That's 100% a similar feeling for me as well. Maybe the fact that we were both born the same years and we're just like living these same animated and movie experiences at the same age. Damon, how about you? I have to wonder, is as a not big Fantastic Four fan, if your favorite Fantastic Four stuff is maybe the Secret Wars arc involving them in comics.
Maybe, TJ, maybe it is, because it probably is. And it's Hickman's Secret Wars, not Jim Shooter. Secret Wars, rest in peace, Jim Shooter. But Hickman's Secret Wars to me is the epitome of what the Reed Richards Doom dynamic, the Richards family Doom dynamic is, which is Doom is so incredibly jealous of Reed to the point where I will be God. I will steal your family. And I will do a damn good job at it. And that's what I love about that Secret Wars, because at its core, it is a big multiverse, cross books and all this stuff. There's like so many crossover titles and they're in tie-ins. But at its core, that run, that little event, that major event is between Reed and Doom. And that's why that's my favorite. But I will also shout out this, and this is very recent, which is Ryan North's Fantastic Four is fantastic. Yes, I will say that again. It is fantastic because it's a lot of fun. It is classic Fantastic Four. It is for the most part, very issue of the week, issue of the month, very episodic, if you will, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're wanting to get into some Fantastic Four and you've never really done so, you can absolutely go into this run of Fantastic Four with Ryan North. It's annoying because Marvel just renumbered it for this month, so it's number one again. But if you go back to the original number one and you start back there, thanks for renumbering things, Marvel Comics. It's very annoying. It's a good spot to start. If you've never done it, you can, and it's a lot of fun.
You know, they be doing that just especially because the movie is coming out. They go trying to get more readers in. They want,
it's because number one sell. We talk about it every week on the Comic Corner.
When Fantastic Four debuted in 1961, over 60 years ago now for the Fantastic Four. This was one of Marvel's first family, their big one. And above all else, they are a family. They consist of Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, who will be played, of course, by Pedro Pascal in the film. We got Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. We have Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And we have Ben Grimm, the Thing. And I did really love this crew in the 90s and in the 2000s. And they've fallen to the back of my mind a lot over the past few years with them not being included in the MCU, and even the X-Men films. They have their own kind of universe ongoing with the MCU, and so I've never been an F4 comic guy, and so I didn't really see much of them much at all over the span of the last decade-ish. And so I'm really, really excited about this movie. But Damon, if you have not heard of the Fantastic Four before, who the heck are these guys?
Space adventurers is the best way to describe them. They're space adventurers. Yes, I mean, look, I don't want to go into this. Everyone knows the story of the Fantastic Four. If you're watching this, you don't need me to tell you who the Fantastic Four are. They're Marvel's first family. They're space adventures. They went up. Cosmic rays. Oh no. Powers. Boom. Bang. Bop. What is different, TJ, and what we know is different in this, speaking of comics, is that they put out a official tie-in. So we know some things are slightly changed from that original story, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, at the forefront, everyone knows they're space adventures. They go out, they do space adventures, time adventures, microverse adventures, all that stuff. And it's wacky and it's corny, and it's very 60s. But that's the fun part about it.
I think it could be argued that they're the most comic booky of comic book characters. Like the Fantastic Four get weird with it, and that has kind of gone right from the beginning of their origins. We have their leader, Mr. Fantastic, the smartest man in the entirety of the Marvel universe. I don't know if there's an official list up to date in 2025 based on all the accomplishments, but I would say, he's got Tony beat, he's got Pym beat, he's got Riri, and I think they've made Shuri a lot more of a genius in the comics lately. And then of course there's Doom, but Damon, we got Reed as still the number one guy, right?
It might be Moon
I'm
Girl.
genuinely double checking this right now.
Moon Girl. That's a good point. I forgot Moon Girl.
Definitely up there.
She might be. It might, but I think he's like number 3 or 4 because there's somebody else with Moon Girl that's very close to. I'm trying to remember.
Doom is up there.
Yeah, historically, he's been the one, but I think some young guns may have surpassed him.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, historically, great point.
Yeah, Moon. So according to Marvel.com, 2018. So this has changed. But if you want an official list, it is Reed number 2, Moon Girl number 1, Tony number 3, Bruce number 4, and Valeria number 5.
Valeria, how can I forget about?
Which I'm shocked Doom isn't on this top 10 list.
He's not on the top 10 at all.
I mean, it depends who's making the list, right? If Doom's making the list, he's one.
He's
one. If Doom's making the list, he's number 1.
That's perfect.
Jam, how many different Fantastic Four, I don't need an exact number, but are you a big Fantastic Four reader? When you think who are the Fantastic Four, what does this team mean to you?
Big reader? No. I've probably read maybe 3 or 4 series from them, if that, and it's not all one of them is Dan Slott's run from 2018, I think it is. So I can't say I'm a really big reader, but what this team means to me is family, man. It's just, and there's a lot of teams out there that are like that, or characters and squads that are like that. The Titans being one of them to me, but this is the first family. This is the family for Marvel, right? I think this is one of those teams that, when you look at them at their core, anybody that they bring to the team becomes family in a sense, right? And I think that's what this team is about. Like the Titans to me. That's what I think this team's values are for me, more or less.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of where I view them as well. And I don't think the original movies. I mean, we're not even going to talk about the 2014 one because, like I said, I'm not going to mention it anymore. I think that is the worst comic book movie I've ever watched. I have not seen a Sonyverse movie outside of Venom. I haven't seen Craven. I haven't seen Madame Web. I haven't seen Morbius. I have avoided them all. But I've seen pretty much everything else. Like, since I've been born, I've seen pretty much every other superhero movie. And so I think Fantastic Four is the worst one that I.
No, it's not. It's Howard the Duck, by the way.
Funny. It's funny. I don't think I've seen Howard the Duck in its entirety. I've only seen
Me neither. I was gonna say I don't think I've seen it in its entirety either.
I also said in my lifetime, and I was not born in 1986. So I'm holding on to that one. Fan Four Stick is the worst, but even those like original movies, I don't think they showed the family aspect of the Fantastic Four as much as we're going to see in this one. It felt more like co-workers who sometimes get along, sometimes don't, like the Avengers. And so I am really excited to get to see that family aspect a lot more in this movie because we already know we're getting it, right? We've seen the trailers. We've known they've talked about it a lot. The two things I'd say what I expect to get from this movie the most based on the footage we've seen are a properly done Sue Storm and Invisible Woman. I think the writing will do her justice, and I think Vanessa Kirby is going to do an incredible job. And that family aspect, like you guys talked about, Jam, what are your biggest hopes for Fantastic Four First Steps that, like, as a fan going in, like, what do you, if this movie is going to hit on all cylinders for you, be at least a 9, what are the criteria that need to be hit?
Good.
Yeah.
Score. I think with what's his name doing the score? We've already heard
Michael Giacchino.
We've already heard some of it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I need that to hit visuals, of course, but I think these are things that, like, I know is gonna be good. As far as the characters themselves, I just want to see, like you said, Sue Storm done really well. And if you could get me on the thing, I think that's the thing with any filmmaking, right, or any of these projects, in any medium, it could be comics too. You get CGI or creature looking animal character or whatever. I was just talking about this with my lady, like any creature, robot, like things like that, like Stitch or Herbie. You do those type of things, you got it. So for me, it's those three. It's Sue, Ben, and Herbie, and I feel like I'm good. I'll have fun. I know a lot of people are worried about Pedro as Reed, like with the casting. He won me over as soon as they announced it. I was sold. So that's those three. I feel like are what I'm looking forward to most. Those characters.
The Pedro with Reed stuff, like, he's very like different than the first Reed we got, but in the original movies in the 2000s. But I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Even though I think young, I forget his name, Grufford. I think he did a really good job. I think it's totally okay to get a different version of Reed here, but I think with the most, I don't want to say all of them because I'm sure there are people with valid worries, valid criticisms, but I think most of the Pedro Pascal as Reed hate came from he got so popular so fast that everybody loved him that people just flipped on it and started disliking him because it was so popular to like him and they wanted to be contrarian on it. But Damon, what do you think are the milestones that need to be hit in this movie for it to be a successful Fantastic Four movie? Not talking box office, but talking like purely as a fan, what do they need to do?
They just need to get the family right. And from the trailers, I feel like we got that. I think getting Sue right is just as important as getting Reed right. It's just as important as getting Thing right. And from that one-shot prelude official Marvel Comics Fantastic Four issue, they immediately made Sue the leader of this team. Like proper, more so than Reed, more so than anyone else. She is the head of this team. She is the one that makes the correct decisions. She is the heart of this team. Instead of going out and trying to defeat an opponent, she will go out and try to reason, find out what the problem is, and solve the problem without like defeating, without putting anyone in jail, without hurting anyone. It's just, what's the problem? Okay, How do we solve this problem? Let's go through with that.
All right, Reed, you figure out the mathematics behind solving the problem, and I'm gonna handle the rest.
Exactly. Like, I'll manage, I'll do what I can. If there is a big fight, she can handle herself. This is Invincible Woman. She can handle herself. She can put up her force fields, her bubbles, all that stuff, anything that she needs. She can handle herself if there is action to be had, but she would rather not need that. And that's what I appreciate about her, and that's what I'm expecting to see of her in here. On a weird note, in order for my expectations for the movie really has nothing to do with them, though. I'm going to be honest. This is the final project before Avengers Doomsday. I'm going to need to see some things, Multiverse Saga, start to
Tie
make
stuff
sense.
together.
I need to. Respectfully,
Fair.
I need to.
Fair.
That is very important for me in this movie, or else you're just putting all of it on that movie. Everything on that movie. I need to see some things in here start to tie together, whether it is incursion, whether it is whatever. Throw out your random multiverse MacGuffin. I need it. Like, give me another one. I don't care. So long as you do it. That's what I need in this, TJ.
What if you combined Wanda Maximoff, Charles Xavier, America Chavez, every super powerful character in the world, maybe not quite America Chavez, but I'm just trying to add some multiversal reality elements to it. That's Franklin Richards. Arguably the most powerful character in Marvel Comics, I would say, in terms of, not including like the one above all.
Exactly.
But like,
yes.
Franklin Richards, in terms of just like characters you see on a day-to-day basis, maybe the strongest character, not physically strongest, but most powerful character in all of Marvel Comics. Telepathy, telekinesis, reality warping, energy blasts.
Bro can make a universe.
He can create a universe on a whim. He's immortal. He can teleport. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Damn near. He's not, but damn near omnipotent. Almost.
Yeah.
He's
damn near.
Carlos in chat saying he's no Gaia, which that is, of course, from the series we don't reference, Carlos. Even though we do far too often, we don't want to have to talk about Secret Invasion because that never happened. That
Gaia and all that stuff happened in the Fan4Stick universe. Make it happen.
Exactly. Damon, are you at all concerned about how they handle Franklin's introduction to the Marvel universe with him just being so wildly OP?
They're nerfing the boy. We know they are, but not drastically so, because I think he's going to play a big role in possibly how the movie ends. I think he's going to play a big role in why Galactus is showing up, and he's going to play a big role, maybe even bigger than that, if you look at some other Marvel comics that some of the characters have been in that are in this movie. So there's a chance that he's going to play a big role. I think it's more than a chance. I think the whole movie, like I've joked this year that we've had 3 movies, and I think those 3 movies all in some way had a MacGuffin baby in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Jurassic World, whether it's Superman for a hot minute, and it's this one. MacGuffin babies, the thing of July. I do think they're going to nerf him a bit, but still keep a way for him to be like universe creating being.
That kind of leads me to like Jam, same question to you, but feel free to start us off with like, do you think the universe creating Franklin Richards will create the new universe post Doomsday that includes all the new mutants in the sacred timeline?
I can see that. I don't know if that's my I don't know if I would say that's my theory. Like I'm hard pressed on that. It's like
going to be Loki, Franklin, and Wanda holding hands in a circle, creating the new universe.
No, more mutants.
Manifesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's like my hard theory, but I definitely could see that. I do like what Damon was saying though, like having him play more of a significant role down the line. So I feel like that is something that they could play on. And then there was those. I think they even put it out in that teaser trailer that Galactus is coming forward, like he wanted their son, like that was their bargaining chip. So like to Damon's point, he's definitely going to have a big point in this movie, or a big role in this movie. And I think it's actually pretty interesting and like a moment of like finally, like we're finally getting to see this family grow live action. I mean, we have the first two movies. We don't like to, talk about the worst movie, superhero movie of all time to TJ, but we've always seen like either origin stories or like Sue and Reed coming together in what 07's Rise of the Silver Surfer, like them getting married and stuff. So it's fun. It's nice to see them already established, and then moving forward, like they're actually having Franklin, and now Franklin's gonna be, because I mean Franklin has been around since classics comics, like the '60s run, right? Like the '63-4 run or something like that. So I mean, it's really nice to finally have that, and I do think, to Damon's point, they're gonna nerf him. They're probably, but not a lot. Like he said, not a lot. It's probably gonna be just to the point where they can't tell maybe the Molecule Man side of the story. That's what I'm assuming, but I could be wrong. They could use Loki as a catalyst. Wanda could be. I mean, there's so many different ways the MCU adapts things differently. So I'm really interested to see how they're gonna do Franklin, to be honest.
Couldn't agree more. That's the same boat that I'm in. I'm not necessarily worried, and he does seem like the perfect person to be able to go, oh, whatever we need to do in the future. All right, Franklin, reboot this for us in story so that we can do. I don't think they'll ever reboot the entirety of the Marvel universe and start from scratch, but like change certain elements going forward. I feel like Franklin's a perfect person to have them write that into the story that he could do it. What do we think about Galactus as the big bad for this movie? He's obviously one of the Fantastic Four's most famous villains, one of the most probably like famous like big bad villains in all of Marvel Comics. You have your Doctor Dooms and your Venoms and Green Goblins, who are among the most popular. But in terms of just like, hey, there's going to be a big problem, who should be the villain for a comic event, a video game, etc., Galactus is kind of always among that top group because he's a big dude who can come and eat your world. He's hungry and he wants to snack on some planets for his dinner. And so with that being the case, Jam, I'll throw it to you first. What do you think of, and Carlos with a good point in chat, not necessarily a villain, just a cosmic being who is hungry. We eat meat. Does that make us villains? Because that's what planets are to Galactus. He needs some energy, and that is his source. Jam, I'll throw it to you. What do you think of Galactus as the choice for the villain in Fantastic Four First Steps, especially considering that we've had four Fantastic Four movies in our lifetime? Doctor Doom, Galactus, Doctor Doom, Galactus.
Honestly, I'm excited. The fact that we're finally getting Galactus, like, on this scale, like, actually not, no disrespect to the '07 movie, but a cloud or anything like that, like, it really makes me happy. It really makes me feel like we're gonna have one of those, like you said, TJ, a 9 out of 10 type movie, just off of the bad, like him being the bad choice of I love casting as Ralph Vincent. I'm familiar with him as like from Final Fantasy games. So, and I know he has the voice, so I know that's going to be amazing. But what I think was really cool, I seen it on Twitter. Somebody talked about it when they first put out like what Galactus like looked at like in scale. Somebody mentioned how like whoever designed him to have like the architecture of like a Death Star needs a raise. I 100% agree with that. I feel like that little detail makes me like take his design to a whole nother level. But being the big bad is interesting. I think like you guys said, Carlos in the chat said it. Galactus isn't bad necessarily. He's like a natural order of things, like a natural force, like, right? Like he almost eats things to keep the balance of the universe in a sense. And I mean, I don't even want to say in a sense, that's kind of what it is. So I feel like it's interesting. Like to us, yeah, we see that coming, or not us, but like the Marvel characters in universe, they're like, oh, holy crap, this is the end of our world. This is a bad guy. But you made a really good point, or excuse me, maybe it was Damon, but it made a really good point about Sue trying to figure out what the issue is and solving that issue. And I feel like that's the way that they could beat Galactus potentially in this movie, is like, what is the issue? What do you want? Now, let us give that to you. Essentially can't be this Earth, but And so that's the thing that I'm really worried about. I think that's one of my worries in the movie is how do you beat Galactus because he is like necessary. So is this going to be a one-off thing where we don't see him anymore going forward, or is he going to be sticking around like as an entity throughout the rest of the MCU, moving into Doomsday and Secret Wars? So that's really just my only thought process when it comes to him as a big bad. Is like, is he going to be reoccurring, or is this something where they kill off Galactus? You know what I mean?
Damon, what do you think about the choice for Galactus as a villain, and how do you think it's all going to play out? Like, do they win? Is their planet destroyed? How does it go? How do you think it's going to go?
I think this is going to be one of those Marvel movies that ends on a thing people will be very surprised about, because Jam asked, how do you win? Well, let's kind of set up the stage here with this Fantastic Four. They're at the height of their popularity. They're at the height of everyone loving them. They're at the height of their powers, everything. They're at the peak. We're starting there. They're ending at the low. They're
100%.
losing. No, they're losing. Like you asked, like, how do you beat Galactus? You don't.
You don't. Yep.
Do you have Squirrel Girl with you? You don't? Sorry, kids. You're running away.
You're
leaving.
You have to
You're
convince
escaping.
him to leave. That's the only way you beat Galactus, is convincing
Or
him to go somewhere else.
you escape.
Yeah.
And that's not really winning. That is running away. That is Pokemon. You're at 1 HP and you're against something, and you're like, I gotta run, folks. That's
hit him with a roar, hit him with a whirlwind. Got to get out of here. But I think that leads us perfectly into our next topic, and that's, how do you beat Galactus? Well, you convince him to leave. And who is the most known character who has convinced Galactus to say, see you later, don't eat my planet, please? Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer. He convinced him to spare his true love. He didn't want her to die, in exchange for becoming his new herald, wielding the power cosmic and getting all of these new planets for Galactus to eat prepared. Who was this love of his life that he spared, you asked? You ask? No, I assume you asked at home. Damon and Jam didn't ask, but they were thinking it too, I know. It's Shalla-Bal, the Silver Surfer, who we are meeting in this exact movie. Damon, I gotta say, I think it's smart to change up which Silver Surfer we're getting in this movie, so that even if it's a much better version, it's not just a repeat of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
I think it's a great decision because this takes place in another universe.
Yeah.
I think it's a great decision because this is probably a one-time thing. And when Galactus eventually returns later on down the line, probably with Norrin Radd as his herald,
they're sitting there and they're like, hey, we've done all of this VFX work to create Galactus. We have all of these templates. We have to use him again.
Oh, and I bet they
Got
will.
you.
But it would be pretty cool to watch Galactus win. And how do we do that? Well, we're in the multiverse saga. This goes back to Planet X, which is with Shalla-Bal as a Silver Surfer and Norrin Radd. There's a lot of Silver Surfers in that. And also the big twist of that, which is the twist on who Galactus is. And I don't really want to go too deep into that, but if you want a little comic suggestion, possibly, before this movie, read Planet X. It's available on Marvel Unlimited. It's also available at your local comic shop. And it's also available at your local library. Free. Hoopla. Go check it out. Shala is a cool pick. That's all I'll say.
Jam, how about you? What do you think about the choice to go with the lesser-known Silver Surfer for this film?
Y'all at home who is watching, my guy Damon is being very hush for you guys. For no spoilers, because I'm pretty sure he hit it on the money on what's going to happen in this movie. So, yeah, I doubled down on that. Go read Earth X. I think the actual Earth name is like Earth 9997 or something like that, like in the database, right? But the storyline, Earth X, great storyline. Everything that Damon was talking about pretty much happens, I think, it's like the last issue, right? It's like issue 12 or something like that. So like overall, just go read it. To Dame's point, I think it's a great. I like you said. I think also too, because it won't be feeling familiar since we've seen Silver Surfer already, and then to double down what Damon said, and the fact that it's in an alternate universe, those two are like the reasons for me alone. It's just like a sandwich. It works because of those two things. But another thing for me is I think this gives us the opportunity to maybe play out what Damon was talking about in this movie, perhaps. I think they've shown so much on like in promotion and marketing and things like that that we possibly still haven't even glossed the like glimpsed this movie yet. So I think that there could be some things in this particular film that are not, and so that's what makes me more excited about Shalla-Bal's introduction in this movie is that what happens with her later on and how this movie itself, like what this could play out for her and her character and others. I want to be a little bit more coy like Damon too. Like I don't want to ruin anything or with my theories.
I like it. This character debuted in 1968 with Silver Surfer and Silver Surfer #1, and then in 75 started getting her own storylines outside of just being attached to the Silver Surfer and really started becoming a more prominent character. Damon, because these aren't the most prominent of characters, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on them, but I do want to ask you, who was the Mole Man, played by Paul Walter Hauser in this movie? And he, of course, is the Fantastic Four's very first ever villain. Outside of that, who is this guy? And then who is the Red Ghost, who is, of course, going to be played by John Malkovich, who recently got announced was cut from the movie, not going to be in it anymore. You are muted.
Red Ghost, big monkey man, controls monkeys. That move on from that. I'm weirdly like, look, it sucks that he's not in the movie, but at the same time, like, I'm fine with it. I don't need to see controlled monkeys and gorillas and orangutans and whatever. Not my feeling. Mole Man, I could tell you this because I'm going to go back to that Prelude comic, which was all about Mole Man, which was all about their very first adventure. And it was, they built the Baxter building on top of essentially Subterranea, which is what Mole Man kind of like oversees, like people who live underground. And this is what I'm going back to when I say with Sue Storm, who she's not going in and being like, oh, Mole Man is like attacking the people, we have to like attack him. She's like, no, what's going on? He's like, well, you're building here and it's starting to sink and my people and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, okay, well, let's fix this. And so they fix it, right? Like that's what's going on here. That's who the Mole Man is in this scenario. He's not like, so far it doesn't seem like he's really like a bad guy who's just a guy trying to protect his people, which is like what we mean when we say we want a good Marvel villain. We want someone that you can like relate with, not just I'm evil, rawr, which is fine for Lex Luthor. But in this case, you want a little bit more. So that's who Mole Man will be in this movie.
Jam, it's theory time. If you have any other theories you want to get off your chest, now's the time to get them on the record before the film. Starting things off, most likely in a post-credit scene, but at any point, including the credits, will Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom appear in this film?
I'm gonna say in a post-credit scene or end credit scene. I feel like, to Damon's point earlier, not to go on a tangent because I know we got some time, but you have to start connecting things, man. You got to start connecting things. And so with this film, that's the one thing I think, to your point earlier, what has to hit for me, it also has to be that. I feel like it needs to end with some connectivity to the MCU, setting up the stakes or setting up Doom to come in Doomsday.
Damon, how about you? Do we see Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom in this movie?
If we don't, it's a missed opportunity. It is like the missed opportunity. We talk about post-credit scenes leading into the next movie. The next movie is literally Doomsday. We had it in Thunderbolts leading directly into this movie, which was like, yay, we did it. We tied movies together. And wouldn't it be ridiculous if we didn't have a Doctor Doom like post-credit scene cameo at the end of a Fantastic Four movie. I don't think he's going to be in the movie, but yes, post-credit scene, it could be something as horrendously cheesy as Doom with a little monologue, and it's like, I am Doom instead of Iron Man. It's like, okay, like it's something as cheesy as that, I'll be fine with. Other theories, yeah, look, I think they're gonna lose. I really think they're gonna lose. I think it's gonna be one of the finales that people who are not in these spaces are gonna be very surprised about, an Infinity War level finale where they just lose and they have to escape. And I'm curious how general audiences, if that is the case, react to that.
Jam, any final thoughts, and where can people find your content? Where can they find you on socials?
Final thoughts to add on to what Damon said. Another way I would love to see Doom is kind of like how James Gunn did Kara, Supergirl, in Superman. Just throw them in a quick scene and then you're out of there. So it kind of sets you up for later. But with Marvel, you always kind of want it in a post-credit scene. So I feel like that's the perfect place for it. Find me, though, at Jam Session right there at the on all platforms. Twitch, Twitter /X, and YouTube are my main platforms. I am a daily streamer. Pretty much stream all type of games, talk comics, talk anything nerd, like, to be honest, that I like with my friends here. And then final thoughts, man. I'm really excited for this movie. I think this is gonna be, I don't want to say, everybody always says we're back with Marvel, right? But I do feel like this feels like, I think the best way I could phrase it is maybe a return to form. And I don't even know if that's the best way to phrase it either. It's just, it feels different for me personally. I can always
we've had the return to forms, right? Like Guardians 3, incredible movie. Shang-Chi, No Way Home, Wakanda Forever.
No, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm trying to say when it comes to this.
It's the newfound excitement of the brand new toy. You know, Thunderbolts are it's a great movie, but it's all these characters we've seen before, and for the most part, the general audience doesn't care about the characters. We love Yelena Belova because Florence Pugh brought her to life, but these aren't characters people care about outside of the actors playing them. Fantastic Four is, and this is the brand new toy that people forget. Before the MCU, Fantastic Four up here, X-Men and Spider-Man above them, but Fantastic Four up here, Avengers all the way down here. Avengers were not comparable to the Fantastic Four in terms of popularity. They made Avengers because they had the rights. And so now we're getting like the brand new toy that should have been there all along is finally here.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's it. I got to play with these new toys in this sandbox. That's it.
You'll be able to catch Damon every Thursday on the Comic Corner, and I will be, speaking of Fantastic Four, talking to the director, Matt Shackman, this weekend. So hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our future content. We'll be dropping that early next week, and then, of course, on Friday, Damon and I will be live once again for our Fantastic Four review, give our immediate reactions after seeing it in theaters. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We appreciate you, whether you're joining us live or after the fact. Subscribe to Agents Fandom wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. I got to get out of here, so we will see you later, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Peace.